Our minds are often extremely busy. This is not a bad thing, it's the way it is. We have learned to react to situations in a moment, to judge, to evaluate, to critique, to label, and to find solutions to problems. We're bombarded with information from the internet, television, newspapers, and from each other. Friend begins to share their story with you, and you start giving advice before they've even requested it. And maybe you're not even aware that this is what you're doing. Have your life experiences caused you to be quick to act, to protect yourself from criticism, blame, punishment? When we human beings feel threatened, we have an incredibly quick response to protect ourselves. It's an instinctive response that evolved over millions of years. It's designed to keep us safe, and it's triggered when we feel panic, fear, and anxiety. We really needed to respond quickly when there were dangerous animals around, to fight, to flight, to freeze. And our system still does this today. But often it's not because we're in real danger. Instead, it is simply our thinking that makes it so. For example, we oversleep and are late for work. Observation. We see the clock, we feel panic. Why? Because our thinking reminds us that we've been late 3 times recently, and our boss told us that if this happened again, we would lose our job. Our thinking swiftly takes us into the future. I'm going to lose my job. I won't have enough money to pay the rent or buy food. Oh God. It can feel as if our survival is being threatened. Your body is already living it. When you feel panic, anxiety, worry, concern, overwhelm, hormones flood the system. The mind is not able to think clearly. The busy mind is marvelous, stimulated simply in this experience by what we see on waking. The time on the face of the clock. Our thinking takes us back into the past and forward into the future in a split second. Do you know that the World Health Organization estimates that in the year 2020, stress-related disorders will be the second leading cause of disability in the world? Children feel stress too. They experience it and they catch it from the environment around them. And when they're very young, they're particularly susceptible to stress because this is when the stress response is establishing itself. Our early experiences have a bearing on who we are today. Mindfulness is about waking up to how we respond to situations in life now. It means knowing ourselves more fully. It means being able to step into the mindful gap, even in the most challenging situations. We enter the mindful gap, we can intercept the neural pathway that no longer serves us. The mindful gap is our capacity to be present with what is now. It is our capacity to breathe into a space between the trigger and our response to a situation. In this space, we have the opportunity to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, to be conscious of the needs that motivate our actions. We are able to connect in the moment to the beauty of our own needs. We feel empowered and are able to understand the needs of others. So what is mindful communication? Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, creator of NVC, offers us a very effective communication model which can be applied in our lives.
I started from the question of how come some people enjoy other people's suffering. And then how come other people in the same society are just the opposite? They get their joy not in believing that there's bad people that need to be punished, but they get their joy in contributing to people's well-being. The first thing I'll suggest is you can't teach anybody anything. And to have that as an objective is itself to create problems. So let's change the objective. Let's never try to teach anybody anything or to change anybody. If that's your objective, you'll create resistance. Saying what we don't want doesn't make clear what we do want. But worse than that, if we frame our objectives in getting rid of something, it leads to violence very often. It makes violence seem attractive when we try to get rid of something. Behind every feeling, there is a need. When she hears your needs without hearing any criticism or demand, and you hear her needs without any criticism and demand, the solution will find you. The conflict will resolve itself. It does need to be resolved. But what most of us do, we skip this and go right to here. Needs contain no reference to specific ways of getting the needs met. Those are preferences or strategies or requests. So we make a big difference between needs and between preferences, requests, strategies. All needs are universal. Every human being in the world has the same needs. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it to get a positive report card. I'm doing it because something that has increased joy in my life. It's joyful to share it with others. It's a fun game. It's the most fun game I've ever found, contributing to people's well-being. I'm really confident it's the most fulfilling game we human beings will ever find.
So this is how I experience NVC, working in everyday situations. Let's imagine a scenario. You arrive home from work. You take your coat off and hang it on the peg in the hallway. You walk into the living room and see your partner lying on the sofa watching TV. You say hi. He says, You walk into the kitchen. Observation that triggers a big emotional response. You see a pile of washing up in the sink and food on the work surfaces. Instead of an automatic response, which we may have played out many times, we breathe. We enter the mindful gap and connect in this moment with what is alive in us. We hear our judgments about the other and also about ourselves. They may sound something like this. He's so selfish leaving all that washing up. I'm sick of his laziness. He never grew up. He thinks everyone should clean up after him. He doesn't care. I can't believe it. I always get into these relationships, the kind of relationships where I'm the one taking care of everyone else. What's my problem? Will I ever be in a situation where somebody looks after me, cares for me, and can see what I need? Take a moment to imagine now. As you see this situation, what might some of the thoughts be in your own mind? We observe our thoughts. We are curious about them, and we simply accept that they're there and that the mind is busy. Our intention in this mindful practice of NVC is not to express ourselves with communication that continues to blame, to shame, to threaten, to demand, to label. Instead, we translate this thinking into a language that communicates what matters to us and also what matters to others. So back to our observation. The trigger is tea dishes in the sink and the food on the surfaces. Or it might be the fact that our partner is actually laying on the sofa watching the TV. Now you notice what you feel. When you see what you see and think these thoughts about yourself and the other, what are the sensations in the body? Maybe you feel something like a yuck in your gut. Do you have the words to describe what it is that you feel? Maybe the yuck is disgust. Maybe you feel frustration too. Where is this in the body? Maybe you're worried, maybe you're sad. Whatever it is that you feel, I invite you in this imagined scenario to imagine what the sensations are in the body. Here's some feelings vocabulary. Would you be willing to take a look, see which ones resonate with you in this scenario, and post some in the chat box for us all to see? I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And now we breathe, moving even more deeply into what needs and longings are alive for you in this situation. Because underneath all feelings are needs. This is why you're so triggered now. Your needs are not being met. There may be past stories and experiences that influence this too, which is why this particular experience is so triggering for you now. We simply return to what is present in the moment, in this particular situation. We remind ourselves of what we see, we hear, and we feel. We breathe deeply into the body and connect to the needs that show up there. We feel disgusted. Why? Because we want a clean environment where we can prepare food. We feel frustrated because we're hungry and want to eat now. We feel sad because we want more ease, cooperation, and partnership with the task of keeping the home clean and tidy. We feel worried because we want harmony and peace, and we imagine that this might not be met if we express ourselves to our partner now. We simply take the time to connect to what is alive in our inner life. This action supports our emotional brain to feel safe and balanced. It brings us into a greater sense of awareness of being present with the language not only of the mind, but of the body too. And this integration brings you into an authentic connection with yourself and with the value of your own needs and the marvelous instinctive responses of the body. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, "Know thyself." When we truly connect with ourselves emotionally, it is as if a soothing balm is released that washes over us. It restores balance and fills us with a quiet power, a newfound wisdom. This is self-connection, self-empathy. NVC, also known as compassionate or empathic communication, is not only about knowing ourselves, it's about being able to step into the shoes of the other, to understand another's perspective, how they're feeling, and what they value in life. When we can do this, it brings us into human connection, into relationship with each other. It doesn't mean we enjoy all of the behaviors that others possess, or even that we want to spend time with some people. It simply means that we're more able to have compassion for each other, to recognize that we all have the same needs, we just have different ways of meeting those needs. When we connect with another empathically, we move past our judgments, our blaming, and expectations. We connect simply valuing the quality of relating, not really knowing what will evolve, connecting authentically, radically honest, understanding, and considerate of your own needs and the needs of others. I'm not saying it's always easy. Easy, of course, when we feel happy within a situation, not when we feel annoyed or frustrated. And so we tune into the other in our imagination. This is all part of our own self-connection. We spend time imagining what the other might be thinking and feeling, and what needs might be alive for them in this situation. This helps us to get past our judgments. This is not to say, of course, that what we imagine is actually what they are thinking and feeling. This is something we need to check out with them when we're ready and when our hearts open. So from the other's perspective, observation. He's watching TV. I enter the living room, say hi. He says, I disappear into the kitchen. Maybe he thinks, she's home. I missed her today. I hope she doesn't want to talk because I'm watching my favourite programme. Or maybe he thinks, oh my God, I didn't do the washing up. She's probably going to be annoyed with me. She's so controlling, always has to have everything so clean and in order. It's like living with a sergeant major. I'm not a very good partner. He probably thinks I'm really lazy. I don't know why she's with me. And then we imagine what he might be feeling and needing, which needs might be met in this situation, and which needs might be challenged in this situation. Maybe he's feeling happy when he sees her because he values partnership and her presence in his life. It meets his need for security. Maybe he feels comfortable and relaxed because he's enjoying the freedom of lying on the sofa and watching the TV. Maybe he feels worried about how she might respond when she sees the mess in the kitchen. He wants harmony and peace, and he's fearful that this will cause him to feel dis-ease. There are 4 components of the NVC model: observation, feelings, needs, requests. What observation triggers me? What observation triggers the other? What are the feelings of myself and the other? And what needs are alive for us in the situation? The inner journey of connecting to myself compassionately and also to the other in a way that will enable me to express myself and receive the other empathically. The 4th component, request. What requests am I making to myself now? Am I willing to clean up the kitchen? Would I like to ask my partner to clean up or to help me? Is it important for me to speak with my partner right now about this or to speak to him later? What to do? Maybe some of these requests to myself take me back into an inner process. They trigger other judgments, feelings, and needs. And if they do, this is the work. It's not possible for me to express myself with an intention to connect with the other and to receive the other empathically if I'm still in a place of judgment. The practice of mindful presence is being here now, feeling confident, powerful, compassionate, and wise, integrated, sensitive, ready to relate peacefully in the world. So am I ready now to begin to express myself to my partner in this situation? This is the outer process. We express ourselves and receive others empathically using the 4 components as our guide. This practice of playing through a scenario like the one that we're doing now, or you on your own at home, rerunning a situation that you have yourself and working through the 4 components, is the practice of training ourselves to hear the language of needs, Even when judgments and demands are all around us, the more we practice, the easier it becomes. And so our expression might go a bit like this. Observation. There's washing up in the sink and food on the work surface. Feeling, I'm hungry and tired. Needed. What needs might be alive for you in this situation? Would you be willing to share them in the chat box? We make a request of the other to meet our needs. I'm hungry and I'd love to prepare some food now. There's washing up in the sink and food all over the surfaces. I'd appreciate your support. Would you be willing to clean the kitchen now, please? I really want a clean space to prepare my food. Remember, of course, that your partner may not respond in the way that you'd like them to. Whatever others say, we only hear what they are observing, feeling, needing, and requesting. We receive them empathically with an attention to stay in connection. Maybe their response is something like, "Oh, you're always moaning. Can't you see I'm watching TV? I'll clean up later." We receive the other empathically, guess their feelings, and express this. State the observation, guess their needs. We might say something like, "You're enjoying resting and watching your program and feeling frustrated that I'm asking you to clean up now." So the dialogue begins, expressing yourself and receiving the other. The intention to connect in a way that both parties have their needs met. In this particular situation, the needs she wants to most meet through dialogue, I imagine, are for mutuality, cooperation, and partnership. What do you think his needs might be? I'm guessing it's for ease, relaxation, and maybe support too. Finding a solution that serves them both in a way that everyone's needs matter is at the heart of NVC. There's so much more that I could share with you about this, so much to learn about ourselves and each other. To sum up now, mindful communication is what Marshall says, integration of thought, language, and communication. NVC supports giving to take place. This is giving from the heart. It provides us with a practical way of bringing empathy and honesty into our personal and professional relationships. If you'd like to know more, do take a look at my website, which is www.tracyseed.com. I'll be coming back to you in a moment to respond to any questions and to let you know about a foundation series that I'm offering online starting soon. The best way to learn is to practice it and to live it.